This video right here for you. Yeah, you. Yeah, yes, I'm talking to you. The one that was too scared to buy a minivan because you didn't want to be attached to the stigma of them. But you're a family person, but you're thinking about getting an SUV. But you can really use the practicality of a minivan. Well, this one right here is for you. The 2025 Kia Carnival. Used to be known as the Sedona, but they changed the name, switched it up. So this one, they really had you in mind when they made it. So this one is going to have the styling of an SUV. So you don't have to worry about being called a soccer mom or whatever the equivalent is of a soccer dad. So now you got a car that your whole family can get into. The in-laws, your children, the soccer team, and you have enough space in the back to carry other miscellaneous items that you would need. This one is for you, my friend. And this trim is going to be the SX Prestige. It's going to come with all the bells and whistles. So in this video, I'm going to show you an engineer's perspective. It should have been a family's perspective, but my family abandoned me to go play Roblox. But it is what it is. I'm going to show you an engineer slash family's perspective. My daughters wanted me to show you a couple things that they had in mind that they were going to show you, but they couldn't be here because they had more fun plans than to record a video. But let's take a look at it. So this Carnival is going to be blessed by hybridization. It's going to have a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine along with a hybrid powertrain. It's going to be 242 the horsepower, 271 the torque. And the EPA is going to be rated at 34 in the city, 31 on the highway, 33 combined. I've averaged, it's probably the best I've ever averaged of any vehicle is close to the EPA range. Over 30 miles per gallon. 30.6 is what it's showing on the instrument cluster right now. We're going to have a 19-gallon gas tank. I've driven 200 miles and I'm at like 3/4 of a tank right now. Super impressive for me. You can probably get 700 miles, if not more, on a tank of gas. Superb. Pricing for the SX Prestige is going to be $57,255. Now we're going to take a walk around so I can show you guys the good size, the good angle of the 2025 Carnival. So we're going to have the signature LEDs for the Kia in this grille, the Tiger Nose grille. We're going to have active shutters so they can open and close to get a higher efficiency of aerodynamics. Fog lights down below, projector high beams, and regular headlights. Good angle. This is where it's going to look SUV-ish. If we cut off the backside of it, it's going to look like a SUV. Not a Telluride, but you can tell they're related. But coming along to the side, this profile is going to be unapologetically minivan. We have the large sliding door, big windows that roll down. Coming along to the back is where it's going to do more minivan things. So it's a couple different ways we can open the rear. So we can open it by a button underneath, or if you just stand here for about 5 seconds, the door will pop open, or from the key fob. I don't have the key on me, it's in the vehicle. Stand back, let it open up. And with the third row fully up, you still have a ton of space down below. I was able to fit my week's supply of groceries just down up in here. It's even deeper than what we're able to see right here because we have this mat, and those can anchor into the floor like so. By pulling this handle here, goes flat on the floor. Same thing with this other side. Pull it on back. Easy peasy. And the reverse is the same. Pull this handle, push it forward, pull this back. Easy. Also in the rear hatch, we got a couple of areas of storage. Very nifty. Power supply back there, plug, so you can tailgate. DC outlet. Closing the hatch. You can also lock the door by the touch of the button and it'll close it. But let's come around to the side sliding door, which makes this a minivan. There's 4 different ways, that's right, 4 different ways you can open these sliding doors. And that's going to be by pressing this button, or you can just pull it where it opens, and from the key fob, or there's a setting where you stand next to it, just like the trunk. Stand next to it for about 5 seconds. It'll beep a couple times, and then it'll slide open. My favorite way, I'm just used to pulling this thing right there. So let's slide all the way back to the third row, see what kind of amenities we have in there. But before I even get back there, we have this lever to where you can slide your seats closer to each other or further apart. But since we need a walkway, let's slide it closer to us so we can have a walkway to get back to the third row. Got 3 little seats back here, headrest folded down. If you're not using these seats, the seatbelt buckles actually fold flush, so you won't have have those dangling and clacking against anything else. We do have window shades in the back row. Let some light in. I like the lightness. Got 2 cup holders back here. Seats are actually still soft, nice leather. And with the pull of this lever right here, you can recline the seats as far as you want to, or just flip the headrest up. The middle seat in this back row is on the narrow side, so you would either want to sit on either side if you're a full-size adult. Me being 6 feet tall, we got about a finger width of headroom back here. On opposite sides, we have a USB-C port right there in the wall, and this one only has 1 cup holder on this side. We do have some vents in the ceiling, so we can get some air all the way back here. And we have a double sunroof back here. So the sunroof back here and one all the way up there. Climbing on up to the second row, got our armrests. And these are some nice seats here. As you can tell from the passenger seat, these turn into recliners, which from the opposite side, you can't control the driver's seat. But we can also, let me move this thing down, can control the footrest for reclining it. And if nobody's in front of you, you can politely have this seat slide back from these controls on the side. Slick implementation. But wait, there's more. So this is option with the rear seat infotainment system. You want to turn it on, just tap the screen, boom, power is on. You have multiple apps on here. Got YouTube, Netflix, games on here. I don't have a subscription with Kia Connect, but I am able to use the hotspot from my phone. Let me go to my favorite YouTube channel. Skip the survey. Wow, I can watch myself in high definition in the back of this screen. You can also pair it with the wireless or Bluetooth headset, so you can watch your favorite YouTuber reviewing his favorite car that he's reviewed thus far. There's also other functions you can do in here as far as entertainment. We do have rear climate. You can adjust your own zone back here, which is really nice. You don't have to fight over who wants what temperature. You set your own. Hopefully your passengers in the rear don't want to fight, because we do have an HVAC control over there, as well as another outlet and DC outlet. A couple of cup holders there on the sides of the door. Speaking of the door, you can open it 4 ways. You can also close it with the touch of this button. So actually, this is going to be 5 ways you can open this same doors. There's a button on the inside as well, if you want to be technical. We have our heated and ventilated seats back here right on the side. So the second row is very spacious, much more spacious than the third row. Captain's chairs are plush. These seats are nice looking as well. You're going to notice the gray and the blue trim. Blue trim, you rarely see blue in the interior cars, especially something like a Kia. That's more so reserved for high-end cars, but Kia be hitting these grand slams with their interior designs, exterior as well. And with this, I never seen, like, their designers are just great, amazing designers. I like to see it. My headroom, I'm going to have about 2 or 3 inches of headspace above my head back in the second row. And looking in front of me, we also have a camera. I'll get more on that later on. So the first minivan I was ever in was a Plymouth Voyager from the 80s. And to open the window back here, it used to be like a little contraption where you can just push it open. You'll get like a sliver of air to come through. But in this one, you can just roll down this gigantic glass. This could be a 6-way. I can just climb through this window. This is big enough to slide a large person through. No cap. Coming in to the front, and the engine has been cycling on and off. I had the vehicle on the whole time. But you're going to be greeted by more soft touch leather. And look at these seats. But let's go on to the door. I'm going to see more of the contrasting of the blue and gray, reminiscent of Georgetown. So the blue is going to go across the dash, the steering wheel. I love to see different hues in vehicles, even the center console. Nice contrasting with the colors, guys. Love it. See that right there? We're going to have a Bose stereo system, and this is going to be a great sounding stereo system. We have our window switches, window locks, door locks, mirror settings, memory seats. When it's dark, you can see our ambient lighting show here. You can get multiple colors. Like we saw in the Ioniq 5, we have the same one piece, but the resolution, the speed of this system, very fast. I haven't had any issues with it at all. Just burst of speed, the refresh rate is amazing. It's just so great. Easy to read, clarity is amazing. And also, got a head-up display. You can see the album art on the head-up display. Like that a lot. Looking at the controls, I was a little bit thrown off when I first got in here because I did not see a volume knob. I saw the HVAC controls, and further on down next to the cup holders, we got our gear selectors and drive modes. But down here's the heated seats, the ventilated seats, and the camera system for the parking. I could not find the volume knob. Of course, we do have our volume on the steering wheel, but where in the world is it on this HVAC display? Well, this is going to double up, and we can change that to a whole other type of display with the touch of this button. It can go from our HVAC to there's our power knob now. So the temperature control is going to double as a volume knob control depending on which menu you're looking at. And then we can do our automatic climate control, our quick climate controls there. And we also have our home buttons, the setup screen, if we want to go there on this top screen. So it's easy to navigate. It threw me off though because I wasn't used to seeing anything like that. We also have these USB-C chargers here and another 12-volt outlet. What are y'all charging in these things? I saw 3 of them so far. Our wireless charger, I am not a huge fan of this wireless charger. It the phone pretty much stays in the general area, but it'll move offset just the slightest to where it's not charging. We can tell by these green LEDs when it is charging, but most of the times when I'm driving, it'll just not be charging anymore. If you don't feel like fumbling through the HVAC controls, there is a simpler way to do things. You can be like, hey Kia, turn heat on. And our heat has turned on with the fan up to 80 degrees. You can use voice commands. You can also do that for things such as reclining the rear seats and turning on your heated steering wheel, ventilated seats. It's a bunch of commands that we do have in here. If you got passengers in the rear that you want to check on, but don't want to turn your head around, we got this camera. You can check on all of them back there. And my children, they want to be seen on that. And when you're in the native system, you can do a dual screen type of thing. You can see that we're in idle mode, can change some settings, clocks, and you can also see the rear camera on there as well. And we also have a digital rear view mirror. I want to acknowledge that these cup holders can fit a mug in here. Yes, a fat mug, like a regular mug. Not one of those tall tumblers that's skinny at the bottom and wider up top. It's fixed an actual mug. And now I'm going to show you how the Kia Carnival drives. Sometimes the startup screen takes a minute to get on and just get us to the, come on, we'll just be Kia today, confirm. Kind of slow to get that warmed up. But after that, everything's lightning quick. CarPlay is already up. The gear selector's down here to the left. We got reverse. And since this is a hybrid, you'll hear the magical, majestic sounds ever so subtly. We do have 360-degree camera with a bunch of other different angles. Wow, that is sweet. That showed me in the parking spot. Dang, that looks very real. I'm impressed. But let us switch it over to drive and let us be off. Because you were thinking about getting a Tahoe. I know you wanted a Tahoe because they look so macho. But believe it or not, you can put some plywood in here too. This can function. This can double as a work van for you as well. If you need those Home Depot Lowe's trips. See? Now let's take off. And I'm going to slam on the brakes. Stops extremely well. Wasn't expecting that. And takes off. It's going to default to eco mode. What I like to do, so since this is a hybrid, and if you watch the Ioniq 5 video, haven't seen that, check it out. We have the paddle shifters here, which you can dial it. It's going to have 3 levels of regenerative braking. I like to keep it on the highest setting. So once you let off the accelerator, it's going to brake for you and recharge. That's probably how I got up so high. I didn't realize that the first couple of days. I could have had a higher MPG had I done that. So I'm going to use this camera button here so I can check out the curves. I don't want to scuff up these nice tires. I'm going to get as close over there as I can. And I'm going to fully lock the steering wheel to see how we do our test course over here. Wow, that's an amazing turning radius. I did not expect that to be able to pass. I thought it was going to take 2 maneuvers. So flying colors, you can really maneuver this van in the parking lot should you need to. Now on to the moon simulation. See what the craters are like, dampening. The dampening is actually amazing in here because this will rock you all over the place. It is a little bit louder in here. It's not the most quiet. It's quiet enough though, but these roads are in extreme, terrible condition. Dampening is excellent, so smooth, comfortable ride. Bunch of space up here in the driver's seat. Nice materials all the way around. There are some cheaper materials in some places, but very nice place to be. And the colors you won't mind. Let's get on out here. See how we can get in traffic. Gets up to speed. Okay, at one point the 6-liter does its thing. We do have like 3 drive modes. I'm in eco mode right now. There is a sport mode, which we'll try in just a moment. Then there's a smart mode. By the name of smart mode, I assume that it's going to choose whether it wants to be eco or not eco mode. So one thing I have to note about this is the brakes. They're inconsistent to me, and I noticed that about a few hybrids. It's just not a progressive press of the brake. It's sometimes I press it, it does too much. Other times it's not doing enough to where I have to press it harder. It's kind of inconsistent, but I chalk that up to the hybrid and it being regenerative braking. Notice now when I take my foot off the accelerator, it's going to slow down. You can see our meter up here and it's pointing towards charge, so I'm charging. I press the brakes harder, it's going to charge even more. And if I go and press the accelerator, it's going to go over into the power meter, which I'm losing efficiency there. But this thing does excellent on MPGs. I was not expecting to see 30 miles per gallon. So, and I know I could have done better as well had I turned regenerative braking on sooner. But this is a pleasure to drive. It's not a car, but it's not an SUV either. So it's going to handle a lot better than what your traditional SUV was. There's not anything else on the market that you can get for this price that's going to be this efficient, unless it's an EV, but it's not gas. Well, it's an EV, so you can take this on a long trip. I said 700 miles earlier. It's probably more like 500-600 miles if I do the math correctly. That was an exaggeration, but I felt like it could, and maybe you can if you hypermile this in some way, shape, or form. But let us switch it over into sport mode, because I want to know, does this have the chops to go? Glad I waited, because I thought they were turning. All right, we just got to get out there. Engine is a bit on the buzzy side. The power is not impressive, and this does have a 6-speed automatic transmission, which I failed to mention earlier. It doesn't feel like that. Very smooth shifting. Kind of feels like a CVT. But we'll see what it's like to get up to speed on the highway. Watch out for that guy. He looks like something's wrong with their rear wheel. But the visibility out here is going to be phenomenal. These giant windows, you ain't got no choice but to be phenomenal. And we're up to speed already. Doesn't sound the best, but it gets you up there. That's what we get. We got to trade off in efficiency for a small, downsized engine. But I'm going to go back to eco mode. That's how I've been rolling all week. You don't need to speed in a vehicle like this. That's just what it is. But let's test out the cruise control. So to initiate it, just press this button right here. It's already going to be at the speed that I initiated it in, but it is slowing down because I'm following this vehicle in front of me that is slower. Let me put that to the closest setting so I can go a little bit faster. Bump it up to about, let's bump it up to 75. Doing a good job keeping this distance. So this has it where you can, it does driving by the navigation maps on here. Let's see if it'll get over for me. Nope, gotta keep my hands on the steering wheel. Oh, it is getting over for me. Okay, it does lane changes. Alright, I wasn't patient on the last vehicle I was in. I wasn't patient enough. Let's try that again. You should have your hands on the steering wheel at all times when making these maneuvers, because this is just an assistive feature, but it works pretty well. Very comfortable ride on the highway as well. I do hear a little bit of wind noise, but I'll chalk that up to the binaural audio up in here. I can hear freaking everything. I got microphones in my ears, and it's letting me know to keep my hands on the steering wheel. Showed up on the head-up display, but let me turn that off. Fantastic feature. So I don't know why minivans became less popular. They were super popular in the 80s and 90s. Everybody was making them. And now there's only 4 minivans on the market at the moment, and which I think is a travesty. So they're super practical. The kids freaking love this thing because it's so much space. They can do so much in the back seat. They can have their own experience isolated from the front. They can put on their Bluetooth headphones and just do what they would normally do in the back seat at home, like get their infotainment, games to play back there. This is the family vehicle. If you want a family vehicle, the minivan is the one. And Kia did their job of making it look like an SUV because y'all, I don't know, man, y'all self-conscious about driving minivans, but they made it look more like an SUV. The Traverse looks more like a minivan. It just doesn't have the sliding door. Now that has the proportions of a minivan as well, but it's not. And people just care about that. They don't want something that's tied to a minivan, which is the shame because this is perfect. And now we gonna see how this big fella handle. This is a big vehicle, about 5,000 pounds. Let's see if it carries its weight around the curve. It's got some roll to it, but I feel confident to carry this weight around the curve. I wouldn't advise you driving like that all the time, but it can if you need to. If you're one of those speedy dads. I used to have one in my church. My mom told me not to ride with him because he drives crazy. But this would be a van for him. But he doesn't like this brand. But he should. So the Kia Carnival, superb minivan, hyper efficient, spacious, has many features. It even has a microphone. I can yell at my kids through a microphone system in here in case they couldn't hear me all the way in the back. For my people in the back, got to use the mic. Got the camera. You can check on them. It's just all that you would need in the family commuter with the space for everybody, except for in that third row if you're my size. But if you got kids, that's why you probably bought one of these. Or if you got to transport relatives around, this is the vehicle. If you want to transport people, you shouldn't need any other vehicle. Many people, this is what you need. And the sliding doors, you can fit large things in here. Like, it's been so many times I had to borrow somebody's pickup truck just to get some things I wanted to buy off Craigslist. Showing my age there. Yeah, I know. I don't use Craigslist anymore, though. But this would have been the perfect vehicle for that. All right, let's do one last final hurrah. And is this front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? I want to say front-wheel drive. I'll put it on the screen if it is all-wheel drive. But I'm thinking front-wheel drive. And I'm so impressed at how good the dampening is. This car is very, very smooth. Extremely smooth. You will like one of these if you're in the market for a minivan. So that's about all I got to say about that. The Kia Carnival. Not afraid to handle or look like an SUV, but it's a minivan and it does all the minivan things with the efficiency of a compact SUV. It's actually greater than the compact SUVs that I've driven with naturally aspirated, well, turbocharged engines. So highly fuel efficient. I haven't driven many of anything that average over 30 miles per gallon on, besides a Prius. So there's that, and my Miata, of course. But drop a comment, let me know what you think about the Kia Carnival. If you're in the minivan clan, let me know. I want to see everybody that drives a minivan show some love, and if you do, let me know what you drive. But with that, I'm Q, checking out, and I will catch you all in the next video. Don't forget to drive safe. Peace out.